To all who come, welcome. Disney is a time machine that takes us back, connects us together, and shows us that not even wishing upon a star ever gets old. Now come sit with your friends Jonelle, Sean, and Megan as we deep dive into the heart of Disney.
Wish I had, the stuff. Oh, we started. Hi, friends of Disney.
Now the friends are going to know that I can dress like a female.
I wish I had the,
energy.
No, the fashion sense to pull off more mask energy. It doesn't work for me.
It's not that special. Don't worry.
Look, I have a very boxy figure, so it's just easier to wear a suit.
That's fair. I have a more curvy figure, so everything I wear looks hourglassy, even when I'm trying not to.
Okay. Well, we're on our
Dose.
third Christmas episode?
No.
Yeah, because Zach and Cody.
Oh.
And then Santa Claus 1.
And now we're on Santa Claus 2.
Can I tell you a fun fact?
Also, sorry, friends.
Oh, please.
Oh, I was just going to say we did a hilarious song before this. So if you hear us trying to get our,
If it sounds like we're 80-year-old smokers, we decided for our test recording to do the Bruce Springsteen version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and
we went a little too ham. We became authentic fake smokers.
Okay.
On that note, what's your fun fact, Megan?
Okay, so the movie The Santa Claus, the movie we're watching, Claus is spelled Cluase, I believe.
AUSE.
Yeah, and it's for the clause of
a contract.
A contract. Most of the people after that movie was produced think that's how you spell Santa Claus as the person.
Yeah, I thought that's how you spelled it.
It's not.
There's no E.
There's no E. And we just all were like, oh yeah, the Santa Claus. That's totally how you spell his name. No, it's because it's a clause as in a contract. And I think that's really interesting that we're all like, are you sure?
Well, and along with that, it's with the first Santa Claus movie when it came out, if you were to look at the what we would now call the disc cover, but the cover for the VHS tape, it will say Santa Claus, but the E at the end of Claus was actually a different color.
You guys are gonna hate me for this one.
What?
But every purchase you make is a transaction of a contract between you and the merchant.
We know this. I don't know why you're bringing this up.
Because a receipt is an invoice, and an invoice is a contract.
I'm confused.
And contracts have stipulations. That means if you are not in agreement, you can dispute your invoice/contract with the merchant.
I'm confused. Why are you bringing this up?
Because clause, spelt with an E, is a clause. Yes. Okay? We started bringing up legal documentation clause.
We're just talking about a fun fact about how people have been messing up the spelling of Santa Claus.
But Megan was representing how it's spelt as clause, like a legal clause, a document clause.
Not clause as in...
Yeah, that's because the premise of the movie's based
and then
on the
I went
card.
on a fun fact about document clauses.
Yeah, no, I was following.
You didn't start that with fun fact. You said you guys were going to hate me, but...
Yeah, that's...
Lecture on receipts.
Welcome to Jonelle's Mini Business 101.
I'm going to dispute this conversation because I did not ask for it.
Hey, this was not a contract. It would be a verbal agreement if there was money, or we made a Megan as the arbitrator between the conversation that this is in fact a contract where I receive something and you receive something in an exchange of goods. That is a contract.
So Santa Claus 2.
For the record, Jonelle, I thought that was a very fun fact. Whoa.
I started to glaze.
I just remembered that because there's a song about invoices.
I love that. I love that so much. Genuinely, that's one of my favorite things ever.
And I refer that video to a lot of my coworkers in the office.
Send it to me.
Okay.
Well, Jonelle's off doing that.
Can we all agree that Santa Claus 2 is the best one of all three?
I cannot remember the third one, so I will leave all of my thoughts and feelings to the end of this trilogy.
Okay, can we agree that's better than the first one?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely better than the first one.
What? Okay, spotlight is on you.
Okay, listen.
Tell us why.
I'll tell you why, because Jonel's a little busy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that Tim Allen is, like, his character is way better in the second film. But I just feel like the first film had more whimsy. It had more, not like whimsy, but I feel like the second one is, I feel like, obviously it's all about Scott trying to find a wife. And look, y'all. I have been made fun of my whole life because I didn't realize that the Queen and Joe from the Princess Diaries had a crush on each other. I could not see any romantic anything until I was senior in college. I know, it's bad. So, like, the whole movie of, like, I need to romance this girl by a deadline. I'm like, I already hate this idea. Like, I understand in concept why it has to be this way because of, like, the Santa Claus, but, like, the ball was dropped so hard. Charlie is now a teenager. So you're telling me that no elf was like, you remember, like, the Mrs. Claus? No one's gonna mention it?
That gets acknowledged. Bernard literally says, the keeper of the handbook left out the single most important rule in the history of Christmas.
The Mrs. Claus. And then, so, like, I understand, that's, like, a thing. But, like, also, like, it makes the romance feel cheap. And I know that it's, like, Scott.
I got it,
Scott.
sorry.
It's all good. Sorry, I keep wanting to say Tim Allen and then Tom Hanks, because, like, whenever I think of them together, and then Scott, so they just all get jumbled. I know that he's, like, at first it was just to get a wife, but then I ended up falling in love with you. It still feels cheap to me. But, like, what doesn't feel cheap is watching Scott struggle to be, like, he was put into the Santa Claus role, and his body literally is forced to grow bigger, and, like, he's, like, literally, like, being forced into this position, and how he, like, takes it, like, not happily at first, but how he reluctantly, like, becomes the Santa Claus, and watching that growth is beautiful. I don't feel the same thing about the wife.
Also, I'm amazed at what all fits on this tiny little piece of paper.
Yeah,
Because the clause is on the business card.
Yes, and it's in, like, the little red area.
Yeah. And they had to pull up a bigger magnifying glass to even read the Mrs. Claus.
Mm-hmm. Which I need a question answered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't need it answered, but I want to know what printer prints this, because like to make it so crisp that you can read it. I just need to know.
Also, who is the former Mrs. Claus?
Yeah, where did she go after the Mr. Claus died? Like, did he, like... Yeah?
Okay. I'm going to blow all of your minds because I'm going to drop some Santa Claus lore on you.
Oh, yeah!
Lore time with Sean. Anyways, so, you guys, I know you at least know this. You probably know this. But there was a TV series released a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
The song. So you should know!
Look, it's been a year since I watched it. I don't remember.
So, I have not watched it because... Oh.
So I'm going to spoil the ending of the TV show. Because it gets revealed that Scott is actually the first human-turned Santa Claus.
Ah.
Because it was believed that when you have someone that's like an immortal, like eternal / immortal magical being, in that role, there's a disconnectedness to it.
Okay.
Like, there's no skin in the game type deal.
Okay.
And stuff. No, they don't understand humans the way like a human would, those types of things. And so...
They are Zeus. They are Poseidon.
I was literally thinking, okay, so they're like the Greek gods, where like they don't have any consequences, in which why Zeus has SEX with everything with legs. Okay, cool.
So
cool.
Scott is the first human Santa Claus, and these clauses were created in a way to basically help him along the way.
Okay, I'm having a moment.
And there hasn't been a Mrs. Claus ever. She's the first one. That's a major plot point in the show. Is she's like, I want to do more things. I don't want to just be the gray-haired lady that's fat and plump and makes cookies. And it's because and every time she asks, everyone avoids the question. Is because there's never been one. So she literally gets to define the role of Mrs. Claus. And so when I look at this clause in the movie where you have to find a wife, I look at it in a way for Scott's character. Because the premise of the first movie was he had this divorced wife, treated him honestly awful. Like we said in the last episode, like he was treated awful. Both by his ex-wife and her new husband. I had a kid that he had very rough relations with. Like, it's important character-wise.
It sounds like he had premarital sex in high school and got married right after that.
But, like Laura pointed out in the movie, like, they dated for 3 years before he had the courage to propose. And he even admitted, like... when he was talking with the other legendary figures in that meeting, that, like, he wasn't good at it the first time. He's terrified. And so I think it was important, one, growth-wise, for Scott, to basically learn to love again. Find someone that he does love. But also, he had something at risk of being taken from him. And at that point, it also became a test of, like, understanding that this is something he really wants, to be Santa, and understanding that, like, he really is going to do everything he can to make sure he can stay Santa.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that, like, when he was trying to find a wife versus how he interacted with Carol, very different dynamic.
Yeah.
To where it didn't feel forced, like when he went on that one day and he had the terrifying experience in the restaurant that made all of our social anxiety go up through the roof. But like when he interacted with Carol, it was a lot more genuine and less try-hardy.
Carol? Like a Christmas carol? Okay.
Carol Kringle.
Okay, as a kid during this time, I swore I remembered him going on more than one date. And I thought there was a lot more, like, horrible dates than just that one, too, in this movie, and there was not.
You want to say something?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Okay, so, Shadam was talking about, like what would be good for, like Scott's character. It reminded me of this movie I watched in college. Like, I only watched, 5 movies in college, so this is a big deal. I didn't have the time. Called The Unicorn Store. Made by Brie Larson, I think. And it was about, this young woman wants a unicorn. So in order to get a unicorn, a free unicorn, she had to do a bunch of things. And what ended up happening was she ended up, restoring her relationship with her mother, getting a best friend, learning how to, building a house, taking care of herself, all these things. So by the time, she was ready to have a unicorn, she was like, actually, I'm good because I have a support system. And, I'm actually, I've bettered my life and I don't need one anymore. And it kind of, it reminded me of, what Sean was saying, because basically the elves were like, we think that probably it would be a good idea for Santa Claus to have a wife because human beings need other human beings or they go insane. And so it'd probably be a good idea for the Santa Claus to have someone to, like, talk with and communicate with. And if they have kids, great. If they don't, awesome. But, like, it's a good idea, generally, to, like, make sure they're not alone. And I'm imagining that, like, they put all these clauses in after doing, like, some research on the computer, being like,
what does a human need?
What does a human need?
They probably looked at the Bible.
The Bible.
That's probably why it says not valid in the state of Utah.
That's Mormons, y'all.
But no, on your topic about, like, him going on more dates, though, can you imagine? All I can picture is if they turned this into, like, a TV show. What would have happened?
Dating Mr. Claus.
No. Like, if they were to turn, like, the whole movie, but break it up into TV show episodes, this would have 100% been, like, a montage where you see him starting multiple different dates and it just jump cutting a bunch.
The Bachelor Santa Claus edition.
For the sake of the joke. Remember, this is not for kids. The Bachelor ho 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 edition.
But instead of getting, like, the rose, they get the candy cane.
Oh my god.
Or the poinsettia. Like, you get a poinsettia. You get a poinsettia. You get coal. Lame, bitch.
Oh my god.
I love this.
Thank you. I'm so glad to meet you.
Ooh. Christmas Island. Instead of Love Island.
It's like a blind dates with,
where the Elvis turned impish.
I'm just imagining, what's that show where it's like Love's Not Blind?
Mm-hmm.
Where they have, like, a bunch of, like, mythical people, like Father Christmas, obviously, so Santa, the Tooth Fairy, like, everyone, like, behind a screen, and they all try to, like, date humans. And I'm imagining it all goes horribly wrong.
Yes, I just sing at birds all day.
I'm imagining, so what do you do during your time of month?
I'm the Toothinator. Or no, the Molinator.
The Molinator. I have long ears I have to take care of. Ears? Yes, very long ears. Long and fluffy ears.
I even got a cute little bunny tail. Like to hippity hop hop hop.
Yeah, I agree with Jonelle. I feel like it's also very rushed. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I feel like I understand, like, the whole point of the movie is, like, it's super rushed. But Jonelle, imagine you go on one date with a guy and he was kind of off. Like, there was something magical about it. Sure, but, like, he brings up a toy that you've only told, like, one person about. It's a little weird around your coworkers. They turn from, like, very serious people to, like, children having a good time. And then he's like, by the way, I'm the Santa Claus and I need to get married. Would you be like, oh, yes? Or would you be like, a no?
If he was Ted, yes. If he was Ted, yes.
It's funny you say that, considering I saw an ad today from Disney Channel being like, perfect holiday movie to watch, and it's Ice Princess.
Aww.
The ice skating scene too, like at the pond. But anyways, so, like, it's, I know you say that it's rushed, and I would 100% agree it is, except there's one fact we're missing here. This movie covers 24 days. Because at the beginning of the movie, we find out that he has till Christmas,
Eve,
which is 24 days, something hours, something minutes, and 13 seconds, I think. Hashtag father time. But, so all of that time gets covered in the, while he's, like,
on Earth.
Now, granted,
or like,
to decide to marry someone, even in less than 30 days, I hear you.
But
at this point, it's Love is Blind.
What is that other one where it's like 30 Day Fiance?
Oh, yeah.
That was 90 Day Fiance.
90
Yeah,
Day
it is.
Fiance?
Oh, Married at First Sight is a TLC show.
That's another one.
Like, the reason why these are TV shows and is because they're unrealistic. I'm not going to marry someone after 90 days.
But
Oh, it's always funny when you watch those shows, though. There's always, like, a condition where they're not actually legally married until they've gone through like all these phases together.
Yeah.
But see, I think he does run into a hard problem though, and he tried his best to mitigate it, and that's having to find someone who's willing to accept him being Santa Claus and being willing to marry him and believe in him and make sure he's not mad. And like the only way he could do that is through what he did, because if you were to have outright said, "I'm Santa Claus," that reaction would have gone even worse. Versus if he didn't do what he did, because if you were to hear him, he was like, "Think about everything you saw. Like you need to connect the dots. Like all this stuff happened for a reason, and it's because I'm Santa Claus."
I mean,
like,
yes.
I see where you're coming from, and I understand. It just...
Look, I don't like spending too much time on the actual logisticals of this movie. I just like this movie because it's fun.
What I like about this movie, it's that it feels like... What?
The homeless person. Whoop.
What I like about this movie, though,
Whoop, whoop.
is that, like, the first movie, like, even from its intro, was very mellow. Like, it had its, like, build up, and then, like, stuff got really crazy, like when he went back to the North Pole and brought Charlie with him and stuff like that. But in this movie, like, it took what the first movie did and went, like, it ran with it, like, fully, like, rounded out the North Pole, the magic, the liveliness, the effects. Everything was that much more in a much, like, more joyful feeling.
The ending scene is so fun.
Which part of it?
The blooper scene? The blooper scene?
No, just, like...
When they get married, the fight?
The fight.
Okay. Which part of the fight? The toy soldiers or Santa?
Honestly, I always liked the toy soldiers. I thought those toy soldiers would be fun to have.
Can you imagine rolling up to school and you got two giant ass toy soldiers?
Look at my nutcrackers.
All right.
That's what they are. They're nutcrackers.
No, they're toy soldiers. They're not nutcrackers.
No, they're ball busters. Hashtag we're not
like a child podcast. Okay, there's the other thing. I have a really big problem with this movie.
Okay.
So Charlie was like a child last movie. In this movie, he's like going to town. He is a delinquent.
And this was in the time span of a year, right?
No, because he was like 5. Now he's like 15.
Wait. Okay, I know that part, but like...
This wasn't a year after.
No, this is many years.
How many years did the Claus give him to get married?
Like 10.
The problem is there's not enough details around the Claus. We don't know when it went into effect, because why did it wait till now? And it said you have till Christmas Eve. Was it like X number of years on Christmas Eve since you became Santa?
Now I want to know more about the Claus, damn it.
There's not enough knowledge around the Claus to know, because the whole question is, why did it kick in now? Like, there was a Christmas Eve last year, and then Christmas Eve the year before, and Christmas Eve the year before. So why is this Christmas Eve the deadline?
I'm going to say at least 10 years.
I think he was like... I'd say 7 years, not 10 years, because...
Okay, more than 5.
Okay, the lifespan of a Titan.
More than 5. Can we all settle on that?
Yeah, at least 5 years.
So, like, during this time, it's obvious that Charlie has been struggling with his dad as Santa and not being able to tell anyone. What does Neil do for a living? Anyone?
Psychiatrist.
Are you telling me that for at least 5 years, when Charlie has been struggling, Neil couldn't figure out one thing to do to help? Not one?
No, because he couldn't charge Charlie.
No one? Are you telling me that, like, this all came out of nowhere?
Well, they still kind of treat Charlie in this movie like he's irrational a little bit, and that their daughter is more of a priority.
But he's Uncle Scott. I don't know how that works. But, like...
It's like how I'm Auntie Jonelle.
You know it, fair enough. But like, it just I'm like, really? We have Neil here, who was like in that first movie constantly like diagnosing Scott. I'm like, you can't do that for your own stepchild? Like, you can't help him at all?
Well, and
you two parents have not like talked about this? Like, I feel like this is like a basic thing.
Maybe Charlie suffers from avoidant personality disorder.
As the guy here who has had the experience of teenage guyhood, Charlie suffers from being a teenage guy.
Okay, yes.
In the sense of, like, any teenage kid, normal teenage kid, they become more and more closed off. They don't share with their parents more. They aren't as open. They...
Look.
Like...
I get it. I was not a normal teenage kid. You don't need to call me out like that.
Hey, I didn't say anything. You
just gave me the look. Okay, but what I'm talking about is, like... Again, we said that this was at least 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is something you should have dealt with in year 1. Like, I understand. Like, hear me out. It's the same as if Scott was, like, traveling for work and you couldn't see him as often as you used to, or a divorce, or any other major life problems. If you don't tackle it head on, I am saying this as a teacher, it will fester and it will come out in, like, big acts of, like, big emotions when they're, like, young, and, like, defiances when they're older. I feel like this is something they should have handled earlier.
So, fun fact, apparently Charlie from Santa Claus, it does not know if they suffer from AVPD, but Charlie Brown from Peanuts suffers from avoidant personality disorder.
Interesting.
And the Grinch also suffers avoidant personality disorder.
That would make sense. But anyways.
This makes sense.
My thing with this, Megan, is that, like, you can't tackle a problem unless there's a problem known. When Charlie found out that his dad was Santa, there was no issue. At the time, there was no issue. At that point, if you were to say, oh, but don't you... Like, at that point, you're almost going through suggestion to imprint the problem if you were to do that. Because at the time, again, at first, Charlie was completely... There was no issues. Shake the snow globe, Dad comes. If you were to say, oh, but your dad's Santa, you're not going to see him, doesn't that mean you're going to miss him? You can't tell anyone about it. Are you worried? Like, are you going to be able to keep that secret? Like, all those things are then becoming suggestions, and that's going to trigger said problem.
I hear you, but let's look at it from a different perspective. Let's say it's also kind of similar to having a new baby.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be like me sitting down our child, who, by the way, we're not having another kid right now. But imagine our kid was older. Our kid is very young. And us sitting down our kid and being like, okay, mommy has a baby in her belly. Do you have any questions about the baby? And depending on how old our child is at the time, they will have questions. But continuing to be like, oh, it's been a while. Let's check in. Do you have any other questions? Is there anything you want to talk to me about? Like, it doesn't always have to be like, oh my gosh, are you afraid for your dad going up on all those roofs one time a year? It can just be like, hey, let's just sit down and talk about your dad. How you miss him? What's happening with you? There's ways to say it that's not like throwing anxiety into his brain.
So, growing up with a narcissist, when...
Sorry, let me just, like, shift my whole body.
No, you're fine. But when you grow up with a narcissist, like, often you want to tell them, like, you're great at... Because, you know, this person, you live with them. They're supposed to be your direct contact. But you want to tell them your successes. Mm-hmm. You want to tell them all the good things, all the bad things in between. But instead, every time, they only focus the conversation about them.
Yes.
So... I'm taking this perspective when I see Charlie.
Oh, okay.
So Charlie is the one who's holding all his success, and everyone else is the narcissist in the case of the fact where they don't know about Charlie's success. They know the world and what goes on in their world, but Charlie knows this
his own internal, internal world,
knows like this secret about what goes on in the world, and like, you know, all these cool things. And like Sean said, and like a few different times, just kind of like, if he was to straight up just be like, I'm Santa Claus, if Charlie was to straight up just be like, my dad's Santa Claus, no one's going to believe him. They're going to make fun of him and call him crazy.
Yeah.
Which is why Charlie keeps it to himself, because he doesn't want to be made fun of. And he still wants to fit in. But if you also noticed, when he's like tagging the school and everything, he tags the school in the way of saying like, the principal equals no Christmas, or like pointing out things that don't bring joy, and to rebel against those things that don't bring joy. Because he knows this deep innate secret inside of him of what brings so much joy to everyone, and it's Christmas. And so that's why he has the Christmas tree, but shows what's not equaling Christmas. And so he's trying to spark a different emotion out of people through form of expression of art.
Bam.
Welcome to Jonelle's lecture.
Well, yeah, because you're basically like, it's almost like he wants to like share the joy of Christmas in the way that he can without actually talking about his dad.
Exactly. Which is why I related it to growing up with a narcissist, because when someone is so focused in on themselves, you still need to somehow kind of express that, because otherwise it gets really pent up. So, like often in households, you might see a child eventually burst out because they're angry that the parent is never talking to them. So you'll see physical outbursts in the house. But occasionally you might see them just up and leave the house, and now they're all of a sudden, like, this is an extreme case, but you know, they leave their family because they had been saving, you know, $5 a week or whatever, because they were doing this on the side. They never told anyone in their family. They were creating an escape plan. They escaped, and now they're a millionaire. Okay,
maybe not a millionaire.
But you know, like, they're doing great for themselves. And it's because they never told anyone, but they had a vision and they had a goal. Charlie knew what he believed in, and he wanted to express that belief, but he had to do it in a way that others would understand.
Okay.
Because he doesn't have magical powers like Dad.
Could you imagine? Those, like...
He also can't show everyone his snow globe.
It's true. But imagine if he did have magical powers, that school would be in a lot of trouble. Also, that, I was like, okay, narcissists, where is this going? That was a really good analogy.
It's the only best way I can describe it, because it helps you put yourself in a point of view that's actually understandable.
Yeah.
I have an issue with the snow globe.
Okay, hold on. Let me...
It's also the escape clause globe, but we'll go into the next movie about that.
I can't remember what happens in the next movie, to be honest. I just know Jack Frost is there.
See, my issue with the snow globe is that the premise that they always bring with the snow globe, and like the message of the movie, is that seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing. Which I love that message in the context of like Santa Claus and stuff. Why is that always with the snow globe when they shake it and see it, and so you're seeing it and then you're believing it? Because that happened with Scott in the beginning of when he like actually started believing he was Santa Claus in the first movie. He shook it, saw it, and he goes, "I believe." And then with Carol, she's like, I don't believe. Shake snow globe. I believe, after she sees it.
Look, adults are more complex than children.
You're not wrong.
You know this because of Mary Poppins and Mary Poppins Returns. Children always forget.
No, it's adults always forget.
I mean, adults.
I mean, yes. But if the message is believing is seeing, why are you using a snow globe to show them the thing to make them to believe?
I mean...
They need factual evidence because they're an adult.
But it undermines the message.
Okay, hear me out. I feel, you guys know, like, the quote about the mustard seed, right? From the Bible.
I believe you told me about this.
You've probably mentioned it before, but I can't remember.
So there's a verse in the Bible, like Matthew something, that like, if you even have faith as small as a mustard seed, and they're pretty small, you could even, like, ask a mountain to jump, and it will jump. It's like, the whole idea is, like, even if you have the smallest faith in God, like, that's still, like, something huge. And so I think the same thing is, like, happening with Sky and with Carol in this instance. Charlie already had the belief, so he got to see it clearly, right? He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to shake it, and I obviously see reindeer and Santa and all the things. But, like, Charlie, when he was talking to Carol during this movie, he was like, think about Christmas, think about the magic that you experienced as a kid, and, like, brought up all those memories. I'm guessing something was flickering there, and when she shook the snow globe, she saw it because she had that, like, that mustard seed of, like, that mustard seed. And I'm thinking the same thing happened with Scott. Like, yeah.
Sorry, I find that is a great analogy, but, like, okay, so we all know I've been kind of inching my way into sales at the moment while I still work my 9-to-5 job. But every Monday is Motivational Monday. Woo! Very, very motivational. But yesterday, I will say it was kind of interesting. And it goes around this of, like, how essentially every interaction you have is a choice. And that choice, you know, in your filing cabinet, in your head, is going to either be a good or a bad choice unconsciously and will lead you away or to your goal. But it's how you reflect on your next choice that reflects your previous choice. So essentially, it's like if you have a negative tone about things and you're just like, oh, I failed that test, I guess I'm going to go do this instead because I failed it, rather than, like, me, I literally failed my test for the thing anyways. But then I retook it in a few days because I know I have testing anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I passed it. And it was just because I needed to be familiar with taking exams again.
That's fair.
And so it kind of goes around that, like, that first choice of towards your goal and believing that, and then your next, like, creating your small stepping stones to your goal. So first you have the belief, then you kind of, like, you have that remembrance of a child. That's your next stepping stone. And then you see this snow globe and it kind of re-solidifies what you believed as a child. There's your next stepping stone. And it just kind of all leads towards this faith boundary. In this example, now, I used, like, success and non-success as a way to describe that. I feel like I'm very much confusing you two. But
I am not confused.
Okay.
When I am, like, super focused, it looks like I just, like, zoned out. But in reality, it's like building a Lego set. And it's like all the pieces are clicking together. But my brain has to, like, basically have my face go blank for my brain to be like, yes.
See, I was following along, but then...
So this is the funny thing about it, because we actually go over this in the MBA program, because this is deeply rooted in not just success, but it's deeply rooted in your own psychology, because we were all raised a certain way, so we have a certain filing cabinet of how we are going to approach situations.
Worldview.
Yes, you have your worldview, but what executive leadership and entrepreneurship in the MBA does, they force us to change our point of view all the time. Mm-hmm. We have to constantly being critical and analyzing one another's thoughts.
Okay, I think I get it. I can give you an example. Sean, I have been using apps to learn Korean.
Yes.
I am sorry to tell you, I have not touched either one of those apps in more than a month. And I have Duolingo, the owl, glaring at me from my home screen. Like, how dare you? And so when I was doing it every day, I was like, yeah, I'm the best. And every day I was like, yeah, I keep doing it. Yeah, the number keeps going up. Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm slowly learning. But now whenever I see that, I'm like, man, I can't do it today. Man, I am missing out on, like, time. I could be learning this new language. And so I'm building myself, taking it lower and lower. Because I'm like, man, I'm not living up to my true potential.
And this is how it goes into belief to when you get older. You know, when you're younger, you're like, wow, I believe in Santa. And, like, because, you know, there's presents and they say they're from Santa. That's a very small point of view of the world. But, you know, that's what a kid goes off of. They come downstairs, they open the presents, and they see they're all from Santa. That is so cool. Oh. The next year, like, the parents might do something a little bit more magical, okay? Look, I don't believe there's a real Santa Claus.
Yes. I love how you turn this into a motivational Tuesday. Like, just from how Megan was talking, she had that motivational speaker energy.
But, like, it's much more deeply rooted than actual success, because success is only determined by your own willpower. It's the human willpower.
And your own definition.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like the saying goes. I don't remember the full saying. I don't remember the first part about it. Like, it's how you react to stuff what matters. You can either crap out in a ditch or you can try harder.
And the MBA program, our funniest thing we say to people all the time is we are professional bullshitters. Right. Because it's so true. I could say some bullshit and you would believe in it.
No, I wouldn't. You specifically, no.
I might believe it.
She might.
But you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It's always one of those situations.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure out how to get us back to the movie.
Okay, I got this.
Because we went way down a tangent that I don't want to go down anymore.
I have a question.
Okay.
For everyone about this movie.
Okay.
What was your favorite scene? Because I have a favorite. And I'm going to start because y'all are just giving me the... Megan, you put me on the spot. I really like the Secret Santa scene. I think it's really cool. And when Carol's like, those are for the carolers, and Scott's like, they're for the carolers? I knew that, but what are the what's with the, like, gifts in the back? And Carol's like, there's no gifts in the back. And Scott's like, what are you... Let me show you,
Sure looks
Carol.
like a bag of gifts.
See, and this is what a professional bullshitter does.
And then he's like...
He convinced the crowd.
I love, like, the first one. He's like, didn't your mom call you JJ? Here you go, JJ. And so, like, they start passing out, and everyone gets so excited and delighted. And we see this face of joy every time we show Casper Jr. Bluey. Like, it doesn't matter if it's, like, a stuffed animal of Bluey, or if it's the TV show, or even just the music. It's the light up. Yeah, like, I think, and then, like, just watching all these adults have fun with toys. Because, especially back when this was made... We as adults are so lucky today. I know there's a lot of things we're really not lucky for. Economy. Housing market. Price of living. But we as a generation are like, no, we're going to still find joy. We're still going to play video games if we like playing video games. We're still going to build Lego if we love Lego. We still sleep with stuffed animals in our bed, and no one bats an eye. Like, you can wear like a Hogwarts shirt out in the world and people won't question you about it. And, like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, okay, sure. But, like, for the most part, I feel like this is a really good thing, and that we continue to express joy in the ways that are simple and wonderful and beautiful.
I like the Tooth Fairy hijack.
Yes, that one was really fun. The toaster kills me how it goes down. It has so much force, which in my brain I'm like, oh, it's because it's Scott. He can't, like, lose a tooth because he's still Santa Claus. He can't lose a tooth.
No, I didn't think about that, actually.
Yeah, he's Santa Claus, so he can't lose a tooth because he's, like, immortal.
Oh, I just thought it was because he had really strong adult teeth.
No,
probably that
he's
too,
immortal. And so, of course, like, even if it didn't, like, the toaster would just be, like, bouncing there. But because he's immortal, he just falls off. And that's how he can get right back up. And it kills me.
Before I said my scene, like, you brought up, like, an interesting point that we've talked about a couple times. Like, I think it was... I don't remember if it was last episode or the episode before him, during the Zack and Cody episode. We had talked about how, like, Gen Z specifically doesn't follow a lot of the same rules from before us. Like, originally we were talking about, like, in the context of, like...
We are Gen Z. What are you talking about?
Generations before us.
Oh.
Like millennials.
We had talked about like who, like, gets to be considered family in this context.
Blood.
Where we previously talked about. But, like, in this, like, I think it follows another example of, like, how adults basically expect you to become boring, dull.
I don't think
work your 9 to 5 dead end job, make food, take a shower, go to bed, have no joy in life.
I want to rephrase what Sean is saying, because I think it's slightly different. I think that, like, when you grow older, you're supposed to become more sophisticated. So, like, for example, I'm gonna use an example about, like, so there's usually, like, in families, apparently there's a thing where people build, like, model trains or, like, model, like, things. And instead of, like, building Lego, they would have these, like, really intricate, like, model trains that, like, no one could touch. Or, like, when they were reading books, they're, like, much more sophisticated than, like, I don't know.
I'm going towards the fact that oftentimes, especially adults, view pure joy as childish.
Yeah.
And Disney adults especially get the most flack for it, because you'll see Disney adults that have no kids, like us when we went to Disneyland, Jonelle when you went to Disney World. You'll have no kids and you'll go to a Disney park any day and enjoy yourself. And people will see that as wrong because it's meant for kids. You're not allowed to have that level of joy without being childish.
Yes, you can get pure joy of that. And there is also an extreme version of that.
There is always going to be an extreme. But, like...
Because sometimes your pure joy can be taken advantage of. And that is where it leads to obsession and addiction, where you are no longer getting... I'm not talking about illegal substances, by the way. I'm talking about people with, like, my weird addictions or shopping addictions and things like that, where, like, you had... This is kind of, like, really hard for those who get, like, a once-in-a-lifetime experience, because they know they're never going to get that again, and they're going to keep trying to aim to get something closer, and they're never going to have anything like that again, and they're either going to accept it, or they're going and move on, or they're going to continuously try and get something that they can't have.
See, I hear what you're saying. I'm not trying to point out the extremes. Like, I've even experienced in my job where I will be having a good day, being a very positive mood.
Just saying, sometimes as a Disney adult, like, I understand these are all cute.
I use Disney as an adult as an example because it's the one that everyone can point to.
Or, like, Taylor Swift fans.
Taylor Swift fans is another good example. But like, even at my job, I could be having just a great day. I tend to be more optimistic, but people view someone who is optimistic, who is positive at work, especially when everyone else just tends to be more mellow. They view them as naive, childish, young. Like, that's viewed in a negative way, regardless. Mm-hmm. Which is why I also do really like that scene, because it brought the joy back out of them, and you can see them finally having fun, getting along, socializing with each other, not just sitting here and be like, that guy moved. That being said, my favorite scene is the sleigh ride scene. I'm a hopeless romantic at heart. I can't help but love that scene. Like, a horse-drawn I've always wanted to take Megan out on a horse-drawn sleigh in the snow.
I've just been watching a lot of controversial podcasts, so like I really do like to see both extreme ends and kind of see how people in the middle are actually coming together and having these hard conversations, because I think that's honestly, like, outside of the movie, I think that's what's important, is getting to learn how to become cohesive with these extreme point of views, because we're all different. Mm-hmm. And we all need to learn how to coexist.
Yeah, but it's like something, remember the Goofy movie episode when we were literally like, why can't there be adult playgrounds?
There is in China.
I know, we talked about this. But like, we literally talked about, like, we can't go out and just like play a game of Foursquare. We would be publicly shamed.
But you can play pickleball. Ooh, more sophisticated.
This was going back to what I was talking about, like, man, when you
golf,
when you become an adult, quote unquote, you have to, like, your interests have to get more sophisticated in order to, like, please the masses. So, like, oh, you can't play Foursquare, but pickleball. Now, pickleball is more sophisticated. You can't read YA romances. Like, what are you doing? Reading about fairies. But
you have to read smut.
You have to read smut. Or you have to read, like, these really dry novels that have, like, existed for, like, millions of years.
Or if you watch a TV show, it has to be a medical drama, police drama, firefighter drama, law drama.
It has to be.
But some of them, like,
don't get me
are
wrong,
good.
Some of them are good. Like, we enjoyed Pre-K-99, but, like, literally, my mom, and I'm going to call out my mother, we would have family movie nights where we would just watch my mom's favorite movies, because, like, my mom would be like, there's nothing good. I need to introduce you to, like, the stuff that I loved, which I understand on some level, being like, yeah, I want to introduce you to some of my favorite movies I watched growing up. But, like, there needs to be a push and pull. But, like, every single time we sat down to watch a family TV show, it was NCIS, one of the spin-offs, Criminal Minds, this TV show called The Bull, which was about someone in
within law,
or, like, The Voice. Those were options. And, like, those were, like, when my sister grew older, she was like, oh yeah, I watched Criminal Minds with Mom. And I'm like, oh my god, no, I got nightmares from NCIS. I can't go around an episode of Criminal Minds without having an emotional shutdown.
Honestly, I do not blame you on that. Okay, so I had my friends growing up in Grand Coulee were psycho, okay? They analyzed every single one of those episodes, and they're like, I'm going to be a criminal forensic mastermind type of thing. They loved them. Me, as a person who had major anxiety, freaked the F out on the fact that there was a dead body every episode.
Me too. With NCIS, there was, like, 1 or 2 dead body, like, things. And I remember when I was 10, my grandmother also really liked them. And I was like, Grandma, this scares me. She's like, then don't watch it. I'm like, I'm sleeping in the living room. The TV's right there.
Yeah. And I hate that, because then, like, growing up, I got used to, well, just close your eyes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't remove any other sense.
Right. Or, like, oh my gosh. So there's this TV show, there's this story I tell where I was in the 3rd grade. So I was like, I don't know, how old are you in the 3rd grade?
8 years old.
8 years old. My dad was babysitting us. And yes, I'm using the term babysitting. I know dads can parent. My dad didn't even know where the pasta was in my house. So he was babysitting.
He was a traveling salesman, wasn't home much.
85% of the year he was gone. So, like, put that context out there. He was like, oh, Megan has a soccer tournament today. You know what movie we're going to watch? Gladiator. You know, the movie Gladiator. That's rated R. So there's a scene where, like, his wife and his son get brutally killed, like the gladiator. And I remember walking onto, like, the soccer field, and the game starts. The referee goes, play a ball, or whatever he said. Again, I was in the 3rd grade, don't have the best memory. And I start sobbing in the middle of the field. Damien kicked the ball, everyone's running, and my coach calls a pause. He goes, Megan, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't want to kill their families. I don't want to. I'm so sorry. I don't want to play soccer. Removes me from the field because I'm having the biggest breakdown you've ever seen an 8-year-old have over not wanting to kill these people's family members. Calls my dad over. What did you do? Well, I decided to let my kid watch Gladiator to show her, like, true spirit. And the coach goes, yeah, no, you just traumatized her.
Oh, I don't mean to laugh, but...
Oh, no, it's so funny looking back on it. I was traumatized. I didn't play that game. There was 3 games that day. I did not play that game. And my coach said, here's $5. You go get her motherfucking ice cream. He said those words. This guy did not, Chris. Go get her a motherfucking ice cream cone. Because she needs, like, a pick-me-up after that. And my sister was like, one for me too. He was like, yeah, get your other daughter one too. Go, go, go.
No, it's like, but yeah. Like, I don't, like, me and Megan have some, like, adult shows that we'll, like, watch and stuff. Typically sitcoms.
But, like, for every one, like, adult show we watch, there's, like, a kid show that we're, like, also balancing. So we'll be, like, watching Pokemon, but also be watching, like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
This is why after I watch a scary movie of, like, people murdering each other, I watch a Disney movie right afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, because I don't want to be, like, completely scared out of my mind. And it's also the reason why I only allow myself to watch one true crime anything a month. And it has to be in the middle of the day when I know Sean's going to be home.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Because I'm like, I'd rather not, like, scare myself of every other human being on the earth. Like, I already have enough anxiety. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel, yeah.
Yeah. And, like, so, like, in the concept of, like,
anxiety disorders are wonderful.
Of, like, so what's considered, like, an adult, like, I know Megan's heard me go on and on about this before, because it's, like, something I hold very true and dear to my heart, is, like, I don't want to, for lack of better phrasing, I don't want to let go of, like, my childhood, or, like, that same childlike wonder and joy and stuff. And, like, I think of, like, one quote by Walt Disney that I always live by, and I know Megan's heard me say this a bazillion times.
A bazillion and one.
It was, like, along the lines of, like, growing old is mandatory, but growing up is an option. It's, like, is optional. And that's, like, yeah, you'll get old with age, but that doesn't mean you have to, like, act like a grumpy old man and stuff and have no fun in life. Now, granted, some people may have fun, I don't know, watching a law drama, whatever they want to do and stuff. But that doesn't mean you hate on the people that like maybe a little bit more childlike stuff.
Like building Legos because she didn't get to do it as a kid. Don't look at me, Mom.
Or even just building Legos generally because we like building Legos.
Say where I was going to go, because this is where my like personal belief has been kind of adapting with, is every time, because me and my therapist work a lot on essentially your vagus nerve every time.
I just learned about that in class.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about understanding like your emotions with your vagus nerve and like being connected with your body.
I just can for the class, can you explain what a vagus nerve is so that way we can all participate?
Yes. Okay, so the vagus nerve.
It like rude.
No, you're fine.
Vagus nerve?
The vagus nerve is essentially from like the nerve that goes all the way down your spine. It's your fight or flight mode nerve.
Wait, was this the thing that was triggered when I passed out when I was pregnant? I'm pretty sure they said I hit a vagus nerve.
You had a vasovagal reaction.
That's it. Okay,
so
continue.
probably that nerve was involved.
Yeah, so that nerve goes all the way from your brain all the way down your spine. Like, this contracts a lot of what your body does, and it's your fight or flight.
Okay.
And people with anxiety disorders, it's constantly firing. And so we've been taking the time of pausing and listening to my body, or our bodies, at that time where we feel anxious or a disconnect from reality, and step into, why do we feel the disconnect? And I find it quite funny, because a lot of times, in my point of view of like, well, I want more friends because, you know, I don't really talk to a lot of people.
The only reason we all talk to each other is because of this podcast.
Yeah.
Besides Sean and I, who are married and live in the same house.
But it's like, I'm tired of the 9 to 5 because it doesn't bring me fulfillment and it doesn't bring me joy. I feel like I'm at school. I feel like I'm in jail, imprisoned, you know, those type of things. And it's like, I want to be able to free explore, and I want to be able to find what's curious to me and things like that. But this is where your vagus nerve comes into play. It's where those two intersect, like those two opposing sides. And you need to figure out, this is where I've been having the greatest joy of it, but like sitting there, understanding your emotions in the moment, and you are kind of categorizing, why am I angry about this? Or why am I happy about it? Because a fear can be both excitement and anger. And so you have to really figure out, am I really excited and I'm scared because I don't know what's next? Or am I scared because I'm truly freaking scared, okay?
We talk about this a lot because I, like Jonelle, have a really bad anxiety disorder. And we have a very young son. And it's true that, like, anxiety and excitement are, like, so small. It's depending on how you see it. And by you, we mean your brain, right? So, like, I have a fear of roller coasters. Why? Because, like, it kind of snaps into that vagus nerve, and, like, my brain's and body are going, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
See, now me, I get an adrenaline rush off of those things because it's so fun. It is so exciting, and it gets my blood pumping.
It's the same way that how, like, in like, when you're, like, communicating with something, if you were to say, I'm anxious for this job interview versus I'm anxious to go to Disneyland, you know exactly the context that word is being used, but it can be used in both ways for that exact reason, because being anxious can be both excited, and both happy, excited, and fearful.
Yeah, sorry. This is also where I was trying to tie in the whole thing with the success and the whole motivational Monday. Sorry, I just remembered where it ends, and I'm ending the circle now. Okay. But essentially, the CEO of the company, he goes out and says, like, are you really going to let someone's rejection to your phone call lead you away from one potential sale? And I'm like, you know, sometimes just hearing that is just like, wow, like, the only people I matter the most to is you, my boyfriend, and my family. So me calling
Casper Jr.
Yeah. But like, in calling one random ass person to see if they want to hear what our company has to sell and how we are helping families, and they say no, that is scaring me from my future. And so it's like, yeah, you're right. I did have an illegitimate fear.
It's one of those things where it's like, it helps to put things in perspective of how small and how simple something really is.
Yeah.
Like that phrase where everyone's like, you make that sound so simple, because sometimes it just is that simple.
Yeah.
Like, it is that small.
And you definitely are overthinking it. And that's kind of like where Motivation Monday yesterday was just like, I was talking to my trainer today, though, about it, and I'm like, man, I just wish I had the CEO with me sometimes when I'm making these calls, because I'm like, yeah, there's been a few times where my fear has overtaken the situation and I shut down for the rest of the day. But then there's other days when I'm like thinking of him being like, are you seriously going to let one rejection of a phone call like turn you away from this? And I'm like, you know what? You are kind of right. Because at the end of the day, the people I'm talking to and I'm coming back to and who are talking to me, they understand what I'm doing. and they support me in it, whether, they're going, I know you guys support me, but I also know you guys aren't going to make a sale, but you are going to help me through my training. So I appreciate that.
But, we all support in our own ways.
Anyways,
it's just like that whole thing of like trying to find the different point of view or turning the switch. But it's also one of those things where it's like you have to be told in a different way to understand.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes we expect things just to be before we.
Hey, we're wrapping up the snow globe.
Before we fully wrap up, even sometimes we just expect that. I'll let you go after I'm done. But I remember this moment I had with the charge nurse, because sometimes you just expect things to be difficult, and for our charge nurse that day, she was making the assignments for night shift, and I was like, why not just use the same assignments from today? And she goes, it can't be that simple. And then she's looking at the assignments from today, looking at what we have, because we didn't have much movement for discharges or admits and stuff, and she goes, okay, maybe it is that simple. How does this she was because normally we have events that happen during the day, whether it's a patient crashes, whether that's a new admit comes and they're bouncing off the walls, or we've had a bunch of people leave, so we have to make whole fresh new assignments. Or sometimes new diagnoses come in, we have to shift everything around. Normally so much can shift assignments for the next shift. And for once that nothing really happened, no one really complained, everyone was having a great day, not much for movement, and so it was literally normally this isn't this simple, what the hell?
Going back to the conversation about anxiety and fear and excitement for just a moment, Sean and I have been really working on how to walk that balance with our child. So this one, my lovely husband likes to play with him hard.
I'm a dad.
I'm just involved.
I'm a dad. I got a freebie.
There is a psychological study that I went to that changed my worldview forever. Men, or people with high testosterone, really like things in movement. And that's why if you gave a baby doll to a child who is a male, they will throw the baby doll. And why you give the same baby doll to a girl, she'll start pretending that it's a real baby. Men like things in motion. So it starts making sense why they like sports, because the ball is in motion. It's why they throw the kid, because the kid is in motion.
Well, that, and it has been proven that when if you roughhouse a little bit with kids, it does help them to get used to that type of adrenaline and anxiety for how later on in life it doesn't come as
well
jarring.
Your son is getting a lot of it.
Yeah. Trust me, yesterday
and he loves it.
Yesterday I was sitting right where Megan is, and he would try to crawl across my lap, and he would come over here more. He would put his face into my hand, and I would launch him into that corner.
And then he would crawl back and put his hand.
He ended up learning. If I
here.
put it here, he'll launch me. And that was the game we were playing. I was just launching him into that corner. It was entertaining.
And he loves it. And so
yeah, Justin throws him up in the air a little bit.
Oh, I do it more than just a little.
Yeah,
he's free falling for a little bit.
Yeah, I was I'm trying not to make it sound scary to you guys. And then he'll significantly drop him down too, and then pick him up, and then he's whoosh.
I hold him upside down.
Yeah, he also does that too.
Yeah, I don't think my parents did that as a kid, and because of that, I'm really anxious.
You don't like G-force.
I don't like G-force. So when you're riding your bike or a scooter and there's that curb and you go down, I was too afraid as a kid to go down the curb, so I was found that that one dipping point in each sidewalk because I didn't like G-force, and I was I'm going to break my bones. And so I'm trying to as the parent of this situation, being okay, I have to learn to teach him the difference between anxiety fun and anxiety for fear. And it's something we're actively working on. By I mean me. Sean's doing great. No pointers. He's fantastic. But I'm just imagining in the future when my son is let's go try out for XYZ sport. And I'm going to be oh my God. He's going to die. And Sean's going to be he's going to be fine. I'm gonna be like.
Or the day we get to go to Disneyland and he's gonna look and say, Mom, can you take me on the Incredicoaster?
And I go,
this is one of my biggest issues. I don't know how you feel about this, but like one of my biggest issues for kids is like, I know for me, I get super anxious if they leave my sight.
I will literally leave him in here and be in the... Like, I once left Lynn in our living room and was in our bedroom for like an hour.
Yeah, I don't feel safe leaving the room unless I know Lynn is in the playpen and like, you know, a whole bunch of other stipulations go on.
This was something I really struggled with when he was a newborn, because I was like, I would take his, like, you remember his bouncy chair, right? I would take it into the bathroom with me, especially like the first few days after birth, because like your downstairs is messed up. I'm like, I do not trust him to be away from my sight for more than like me like going to grab a tissue. But no, it stresses me out. But I also have my own stipulations of being like, if XYZ is good, I can go to the bathroom. If XYZ is good, I can like step to like make him Cheerios.
Okay, I'm gonna end this out because we're at an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, bye.
So, bye, friends. See you next week for Santa Claus 3.
Sorry for the short end. Bye-bye.